We often get asked, do you actually live here at the Manor? And the answer is yes. And when we answer yes, the next question is usually, well, where do you live? So today I thought I would show you. Now, this is a room that's had no work done to it. In fact, it's probably one of the last rooms for us to do any work on. And as we now need to move back in very shortly, in a few weeks' time, we decided that now's the time. We need to be working on its transformation. So this week we got started. I'm going to show you what that looks like and where we've got to. I was also invited this week to be a guest on a very special live show. And I can't wait to share where I went and who I met. So stay tuned to find out. And don't forget, if you're enjoying our videos, make sure you hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, The Ladysmith Manor Diaries, to ensure that you see all our videos when we first put it out. But first, let me show you what we've been up to this week. One of the only rooms really in the manor now that has not really had a lot of work and isn't really very finished is the room that we have been living in. And up until this winter, we were living in here. My mum and dad went back to the UK and we moved into their apartment, which has been wonderful over the winter. Thank you, mum and dad. But they are coming back in June. And so it is time for us to move out of the apartment and get our own space again. And we decided that we needed to do something. This room needed some TLC before we moved back in. So this week we decided that now's the time. We need to get this put together and finished enough so when we moved in, it's livable and doesn't look like a building site. Some of the walls in here have already been drywalled when we were doing our fire retardant drywall. But other than that, pretty much nothing else has been done. And it definitely needs some TLC. The first place we need to start is with the floor. This side of the room has this plywood down, which all needs to come up. The question is, what are we going to find underneath? We were pretty excited to find that underneath the plywood and the lino was the original hardwood floor. You can see now that we've taken all this plywood up that the floor underneath is in actually really good condition. Doesn't look very pretty, but the wood is in great condition. There's a couple of pieces that we need to repair, but we are going to now be able to sand this whole room. So you can see over this side it was painted, and then this side it was obviously stained and varnished at some point before they put the lino over and the plywood. But we're going to bring in a sander and we are going to get all this sanded now, and then we're going to stain it so that it looks lovely and is very wearable with the dogs. And then we can start doing some painting and making the space look a little bit nicer than it does right now. Look at this lovely lino that we took up from underneath the plywood. It's funny to think that in this room, someone would have had that down as a floor at some point in time. And I would assume this would have been a bedroom, so it kind of is a strange choice of bedroom floor, but I guess everyone to their own. I often get asked where I find my inspiration for my designs in the different rooms in the manor. And that's a difficult question. Sometimes I have to think about it because often there's not one answer. Sometimes it's a color or a picture or something in nature or something I've seen. It's an idea that kind of evolves over time. But for this room, I actually had two items that I found actually in HomeSense a little while ago, and as soon as I saw them, I knew they were my inspiration pieces for this room. and I'm going to show you what they are today. Now, the first one is one of my favorite pictures, and it's this amazing picture that I found. I just love the dark green and the pale pinks, the tealy blue. I just love it. So that was my first inspiration, this kind of very dusty pinks and greens, dark greens. But then I also found this. Now, this is a William Morris cushion. I'm a big fan of William Morris. I have some kind of William Morris inspired in other parts of the manor. And I just love, again, this kind of the pinks and the green and the kind of tealy blue in this cushion. And so as soon as I saw both these items, I knew that was my inspiration. That was what I was going to use to decide on my design, my colors in this room. So I'm going to be using a dark green on the bottom half of the walls and the chair rail to give it a really kind of nice, dark, moody feel. And then on the top, I'm going to be using my Sulking Room pink. Now, if you remember down in the music room, I've used Sulking Room pink. It's one of my favorite colors, to be honest. It's a Farrow and Ball color. Love, love, love Sulking Room pink. So I'm going to be putting that in here. And I've also got some wallpaper coming. So I'm really excited about that too. So I can't wait to show you. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to be able to show you all my design choices and the progress as we get this room put together. We're going to be leaving, we're going to the UK at the end of May, so we have a deadline. We have to get it done before then, but the first job is to get the floor sanded and stained, and then once we've got that sorted, we can start working on the fun parts of making it look pretty. Today I am off on a road trip. I don't get out very much, so this is going to be fun because I have been invited on a very special live show that is recorded every Thursday. And so I'm heading down to Amherst because I am going to be the guest today. So I've made it to my destination. I've come to Deanne Fitzpatrick's rug hooking studio in Amherst. And this store is a Aladdin's cave of creativity and treasures. What an amazing place. And just to see her work on the wall it's just stunning. Very inspirational and just such beautiful work. What was really fun was to be able to not only be a guest on her live show, but to see her behind the scenes, to see how they do their filming. She's got a team, there's 3 of her team that work with her to do her live each week. And it was just really fun to be part of that process. I'll put a link in the description below to the full 35-minute episode and live video, but to give you a little sneak peek of some of the things we talked about, here is a little snippet of my conversation with Deanne. It was always the vision to have that space like in the UK, where people get together, you feel welcome whether you know people or you don't know people, and to translate that to Canada, I was in my head, it worked, and I was like, I hope this is going to work, but but it really has. Like, we see people who will walk in and meet someone they've not seen for 20 years, or they'll have 2 groups that have come in, don't know each other, and by the end of the afternoon they're all chatting together. It's very much really that community. And the one thing that I'm really pleased about, and we've not really intentionally done anything except for obviously the vision, is you rarely see people on their phone.
You what? Really?
Rarely see people on their phone.
Isn't that interesting?
So we have board games you can borrow, but we have Wi-Fi. You can come. We do have people who come and work or sit. But when you have groups, they are almost always chatting.
They're connected.
Playing music.
So
playing board games. They're connecting.
Yeah.
Which is really what we want. So
it's unique. You have, I noticed glassware.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time with the details.
Attention to detail.
I'm a big believer in the details.
You
and
are.
sometimes people will come in, and if you're that type of person like me, you spotted the glassware and all the little details. And then other people, they're not so much detail orientated, but they'll say, there's something about that place. I can't quite tell you what it is.
I don't know why I like it there.
But I really like it.
Yeah.
And either way, I feel that's job done.
That is, either way, you're right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you spot the detail or whether you don't, but it's about how you feel.
Yeah.
And that's very much how the feedback we've got is that place where you feel welcome and you feel at home and you feel like you can be yourself. When I left the UK, it was very much like, oh, I'm just going to go to Canada and live. People are like, you're a little crazy. And I'm like, why not?
Right.
But I think the thing for me is that for many years I would have said I probably didn't know why I was here. I was good at what I did, so I did financial
you were here
in terms of a purpose for being in the right place.
Yeah, okay.
And my financial business did very well. I had great I did well in that. But I never felt that I was really fulfilling what I was able to do.
Yeah.
And I feel that the Manor has given me that opportunity.
Yeah.
So whether that's the creativity that we put into and I create from the markets and the events to the the business component of building what we've built with the pub as well as the I think that now I feel like I'm in the right place.
Yeah. That's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah, and I think it's been many years before it took me a long time to find that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I can look back and see all the different things in my journey that brought me to this spot.
Yeah.
That have given me the skill sets to be able to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I think that's very much it's very much sometimes it takes time.
Where does your creative talent come from? Do you think where?
I've never done any kind of education or that kind of stuff. I think it's more curiosity.
Yeah. That's a good answer.
Yeah. For me, it's very much, I'm always curious about what other people are doing and how people do it. And like you are, like when you're asking, where does that come from and what does that look like? And I think also having that kind of feeling of you can't do that.
No.
There's just a different way of doing it. So it's that solution finding, problem solving.
Right.
So, okay, that might not be quite how I was thinking, but how do we make that work?
Yeah.
So that, I think it comes back to that curiosity.
It does. That solution, problem solving, that is what creativity is about, I think.
And I think the other thing is being open to to listen.
Yeah.
Because what do people want? Because ultimately, you can be creative, but if you create something no one wants,
I know.
Kind
of breaks your heart a little.
It does, right?
But you gotta
find that balance of what is you, but also what do other people respond to.
What do I have that I can
100%.
offer you? Like what? How can we work together?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
How can that collaboration work together so that you take what you've got and it's an interesting.
It is really interesting.
And I think it's one of those things. There's no right answer, and I think it evolves over time.
It does.
As you go through business and you grow with your followers, and I think that you then create that community that then helps you grow. I had a lot of fun today at Deanne Fitzpatrick's studio and meeting Deanne and her team and being on her show. It was a great honor to be invited. And to be very honest with you, I don't really know anything about rug hooking. I know about it since moving to New Brunswick, and there's lots of people I know who do it, and I have seen lots of amazing finished products. But to be honest, I'd never actually had an opportunity to see how it was really done. So it was so fun. Deanne gave me a few instructions and showed me the basics of how it all works. And I want to thank her so much for inviting me and for doing that. It was so wonderful. But she also gave me a bag of goodies. And I'm so, so grateful. I want to say a big thank you to Deanne because I am so excited. You just wait till you see what I've got in here. Now, because obviously I'd never done rug cooking and Deanne showed me the basics and it looked, I love cross stitching. So I was quite excited about perhaps trying something new. And so she said to me, well, why don't you go and get a kit and take it away? I'm going to give it to you and you can learn to rug hook. So I had the absolute joy of going into her store and choosing any kit I wanted to. And the one I chose was this one. Now, this one is, I just loved it. As soon as I saw it, I was just drawn to the really quirkiness of the washing line and the items. So when I said to her, this was the one I wanted, she was telling me that this was her very first kit that she put together 30 years ago. And so it kind of, for me, was extra special because I completely understand. We were talking about it today about starting a new business or starting a small business and how it works in the early days and how much you have to do yourself and how you kind of grow into your business and add employees. And anyway, we had a really good chat, but it really reminded me of, Deanne is so successful and has got an amazing business, but it all started from those grassroots and the work she had to put in. So I was just really, really excited that the one I chose took her back to the beginning, which was something we obviously had in common. So she also gave me an amazing hoop, which obviously I'll need. So my next little project, like I haven't got enough on my to-do list. But this one I think is a good project. One of the things that Stephen and I have been talking a lot about is, and if you have your own business, you'll know this. How do you get a little bit of balance? I don't know whether you can completely find balance, but as a small business owner or any of us, we have to take time to do some things that are creative and things that we love and just give us some downtime. And so one of the things I've always done in the past is cross stitch. I haven't had a lot of time for it. I love doing my little miniature book nooks. But this is something again that I'm hoping I'm gonna actually make an effort to find some time to sit and do some rug hooking and kind of learn how to do it with this kit that Deanne so graciously gave me. So you will watch this space, I guess, is what I'm saying. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me, but I am going to start working on my very first rug hooking project. So excited about that. She also gave me this fabulous Deanne Fitzpatrick bag and amazingly this beautiful mug that's actually Kaylee Cook Pottery. She's here in Sackville. She actually was at our market last year, and so I'm thrilled to have a mug of hers as well. But if you're local and you've never been to Deanne's studio, I would highly recommend it. What a treasure trove and Aladdin's cave of all things amazingly rug hooking. I could totally spend hours in there, just all the yarns and the colors, and if you want some inspiration for creativity, that's the place to go. And her team are just so lovely. So I would highly recommend. And if you're not local, look her up on her website, Facebook, Instagram. She does her lives every Thursday. And you can follow her from wherever you are in the world. But we are excited, and you never know. I was talking to her earlier today about whether we could do some kind of collaboration or something here at the Manor around the rug hooking. I think there's all sorts of opportunities, so you never know what we'll come up with. But for now, I'm just very grateful for my wonderful goodies I've received today. It's been just so lovely to spend time with Deanne and her team and to be a guest on the show. It's kind of fun. We do our videos every week, and it's kind of fun to have to go on other people's videos as well. And we will definitely be asking Deanne to come back here and be on our video one week because I am planning that, you never know, we might have some guests at different times over the year. We're going to be adding some different content and some different additions to our videos, along with you being able to follow us in all our renovation progress, our events, and all the things that we're doing at the Manor. Because even though we have kind of finished most rooms, we still have lots of little details to finish, and then we are always working on new projects. So there will never be a shortage of things to share with you. But for now, I am going to finish my coffee and get back to work. We've got a deadline for our room upstairs, so I need to get going on that. And I will be back next week along with Stephen for our next Ladies Manor Diaries next Thursday. Have a great week.